All right, welcome to another edition of the Spotter Stand. This week coming at you from California. It's been another great week of racing. Got a lot of news for you this week. This is Duck Butted Jones and my partner Big Panda coming at you.
What up, everybody?
We've got BSR Hot Rod in the booth with us. BSR Chevy Chase also in here with us today. I believe Chevy's in on his phone. How you guys doing today?
Hey, we're doing great. Good. How about you?
Doing pretty good, pretty good. Any of you guys catch the race? I didn't get a chance to catch the race, much of it today. It was on, but I missed most of it.
I didn't see it.
Say domination.
What was that, Chevy?
All you have to say is domination. Martin Truex was just the class of the field.
At least it wasn't Kevin Harvick again this week. Heck, good job, Martin Truex.
Thought he was saying he wanted to play domination. I said, we just got done. We had to stop to come get on the spotter stand.
Well, I'd like to start this week out. As we all know, recently, fellow sim racer, ECTQ, otherwise known as Bruce Phelan, recently passed away. He's going to be missed by a lot of sim racers that have raced with him for a very long time. On Saturday night, before our team series race, we held a moment of silence for Q, and he'll be remembered by a lot of people here in this community.
Absolutely. Our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody over at ECT, Pete, John Forgione, everybody over at ECT. Bruce did so much for sim racing. I was thinking about this the other day. I bet he painted there. It had to have been over 1,000 cars. I had a conversation with him not too long ago, and I asked him, and I don't know if he ever did, but I asked him if he had actually saved all of those to a file or something like that. But I mean, there's literally thousands of them, and that's just the kind of guy he was. He painted cars for anybody and everybody, and just invaluable. For free. You never even, it was just, no worries. He'd take care of it. So he will be sorely missed in this community and over at ECT. And like I said, our thoughts and prayers go out to those guys, and rest in peace, Bruce. God bless you, sir.
All right. Well, definitely, from looking at this 13 car here, you can tell how good of a painter he was. That's a great looking car. And you know that everybody that's got one of those cars out there that was painted by Bruce, that means even more to them, now. It's unfortunate that we're going to have to continue on without him. But like I said before, he will be missed. And our prayers are all with him.
Absolutely.
Now, moving on to our week here, we'll start with Monday night, where we're running the Monday Night Nitro series, sponsored by Axel Foley, running the INXS15 Mod. We're into race number 3 now, I believe, in that series. And this week, it's BSR Axel Foley bringing in the win at Martinsville this week. You got our top 5 for us there, Parker?
Yeah, sure do. Looks like followed closely in second place by Nelly. Third place, BSR Barry. Fourth place, BSR Brain Fade. Rounding out the top 5, Big Daddy BSR, poor boy Roger Bevins.
And after 3 races, let's take a look at the points here in that series. Looks like Brain Fade currently holding the lead with Axel Foley right there in second, only 1 point behind. Looks like that win moved Axel up 4 spots, 4 positions in the standings to 1 point behind in second. And you got Nelly right there in third, 4 points back, tied with Nelly. It looks like, oh no, he's not tied. Chevy Chase in fourth there, down by 5, and Poor Boy tied for fourth, also down by 5. Points still pretty close there in that series after 3 races.
I think my schedule says 2. Is it 2 or 3? Yeah.
It's only been
Yeah,
2?
2. Yeah, 2.
Oh, okay.
But that's still, yeah, those points right there, that'll change. I mean, there's no way it can't change. And it's good to see it close. Good competitive racing over there on Monday night with Axel Foley and the boys. So good job to them.
Yep, Axel's doing some pretty cool stuff over there. He's recently already given away several prizes in that series. Most of them in random fashions, instead of just awarding a prize to the winner and having everybody having this mad scramble to get the win and get the prize. These have been awarded randomly. 2 of them were through a pick the closest number drawing. Everybody picks a number. Whoever gets the closest gets that one. And a third one was a random drawing by finishing order in the race. And Chevy Chase, who I believe is with us here, Chevy won that one. Chevy, you won, was it 30-day subscription to Nitro TV, was it?
That's right. He's going to help me cut the cable.
And also BSR Brain Trade. He won one of those. He won a couple of bags of Drunken Cow jerky. And BSR Nelly, he won one that was actually provided by BSR Poor Boy. It's a 05 Terry Labonte Kellogg's car, diecast. It's a pretty neat looking car. I've got some pics of it. We'll show you here later on in this episode.
Yeah, they're doing some great things over there. So all those those prizes, Axel's throwing out some good stuff there for those guys. So that's pretty cool. I seen that car that Roger Bevins put up for what was that? That was a drawing, right?
Yeah, that was a random drawing.
Yeah, diecast car, Terry Labonte car, pretty nice with a little come with a cover on or a little
yeah, it's in its own display case.
Yeah. So appreciate Roger Bevins throwing that out there. Axel visiting our sponsor and buying some prizes from DrunkenCowJerky.com, passing them around. So that's pretty cool to see them doing over there on Monday night. Unfortunately, that's my night off, so I'm not getting to enjoy any of that. But I'm glad to see those guys having a good time and winning some prizes and doing some good racing.
Yeah, there's been some really good racing in that series. Very few cautions, a lot of good, clean, fun racing, a lot of real close racing as well. Yeah, I'm sure it'll continue for the entire rest of that series. So, any of you guys that aren't racing, aren't doing anything on Monday night, you're welcome to come and join us over there. 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern is qualify time. And moving on then to Tuesday night. Tuesday we're off. We don't really have much of anything going on Tuesday. But on Wednesday night, when the truck series is off, we run a dirt series here at BSR. And we had a meet and greet race the week before last. And this week was the actual first points race at the Springfield Mile. If you remember, BSR Nelly won the original meet and greet race there at Springfield. We expected to see him repeat this week, but we had a few drivers show up that didn't show up the last week, and Rick Craddock took the win at the Springfield Mile this week, man. Congratulations, Rick. That was a great run. There was a pretty good field there. It was a good setup and a lot of good fun racing there.
Yeah, how about that? Mount Washington, Kentucky's very own Rick Craddock in the number 22 brings home the win there in the dirt, followed closely by H.B. Hardy. Third place was Nelly. Fourth place, look at that, BSR Terry Scott. Who knew? Who knew Terry Scott could come to the dirt series and finish fourth? He's actually been pretty good there. He's done a good job rounding out the top 5. Once again, BSR Brain Fade. Yeah, that dirt series right there is very unique. We've got what I consider the best dirt expert in the business with Larry Yeager Jr. He's taking over that deal there and setting it all up and going out and picking out the good tracks and the good setups and providing us a good series for the nights that we're off on Wednesday nights. And he and I kind of worked together on this. And what we plan on doing is whatever track that we're going to be racing at that week, for example, this coming week at Martinsville, we're going to pick a dirt track that is as close as possible to that and run a dirt race there. So it'll be kind of realistic simulation of us going to the asphalt series races, Drunken Cow Jerky series races, and then on Wednesday nights we all load up and go to the local dirt track and run the DrunkenCowJerky.com dirt track series. So that's going to be an exciting thing all year long that we're going to do in the off nights of the truck series.
Right. This week we're off. The following week we're at Texas. So we will be running the Devil's Bowl.
There you go. Devil's Bowl. That's the closest track to Texas Motor Speedway. Is that correct?
Closest game track that we could find. Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
That track also happens to be just a few miles from my house. So, yeah, that'll be fun to actually be able to run that in the game.
So we'll all be able to crash over at your house after the race.
That's absolutely right. We're all sleeping at Texas that night.
Well, I know that race at Springfield was a lot of fun. There was the setup was great. You know, if you can continue putting setups like that in there at all these tracks, I think we'll have a lot of fun. Even guys like me that don't normally run a lot of dirt were able to come in and feel competitive and race with the rest of the guys, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm sure it'll be that way for the rest of the season.
That's what I'm striving for.
I just look at those big names in sim racing out there on the dirt. That's what makes that series so competitive and so good. So that's good to see the support from those good sim racers out there bringing it out on the dirt and showing out. So we'll continue to keep track of that here on the spotter stand every week and let you know the progress and the points and see how that goes.
Bullshit.
like to throw a shout out for the heat winners though was Nelly and Scar, both with a heat win this week also.
Yeah, those giving them bonus points in their overall finish as well.
Yep, that's correct.
Well, on to Thursday night, where we run the NASCAR Cup schedule. Thursday night was a pretty tense race. There was a lot of fast cars in there, and there was a lot of lead changing, a lot of racing up at the front. We had a few cautions here and there to mix things up, and Danny Hardy brings home the win in that number 3 Hardy's Chevrolet. You know, that was he had a race on his hands there, especially at the end, trying to hold a few guys off and hold on to that lead. And he was able to do that and bring home the victory. Congratulations and nice job, Danny.
Yeah, that was a great race. That California track produces some awesome racing. And I tell you what, there's very few times that I'm in the driver's seat rooting for another driver to beat me, but I was rooting for the 03 of Danny Hardy. That guy has come into the series and he's experienced some of the pains of racing, getting involved in other people's stuff that he had no part of, but he's stuck it out and he's always consistent. He's always up there battling for the top positions and everything like that. So they're close to the end of that race. When I seen him up there leading, I looked on the leaderboard while we were pacing in the 38 Drunken Cow Jerky hot car, and I thought, man, wouldn't it be great if Danny Hardy wins this race and he pulls it off? And I was really excited for him. Congratulations to him. Second place was his son, HB Hardy. The Hardy boys, no mystery there. Those guys are some of the best in the business, racing out of the PPR2 stables. They bring home a first and a second place. Third place was Chevy Chase. Fourth place, BSR Texan, or better known as Duck Butter Jones. Fifth place was Mr. Magoo. So that was a great race.
I have a quick question, Pockets. Is that Danny's first win here?
I believe that it is.
That's right.
I believe that it is, and it didn't take him long to do it either. This is what the 5th race in the series, and so that he's a contender. He's like I said, he's always up front. Good good, clean, I mean, clean, respectful driver. Just a great all-around guy. Great family. The Hardys, you know, Danny is just he's to be commended. He's raised a great son in HB. I can't say enough about him. He's just a good kid, and he's just a product of good parenting. And so Danny and his wife, they've done a great job, and I just can't say enough about them. I have a ton of respect for the Hardy boys.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there. I was pretty sure that was his first one. Congrats, Danny.
Yeah, and after 5 races in that series, let's take a look at the points here. Looks like BSR Chevy Chase is up at the top currently. BSR Pockets holding on to that second spot, 7 points down. And then Rick Craddock, 3rd place, down by 9. Nelly in 4th, down by 13. And tied with Nelly to rounding out the top 5, down by 13, BSR Texan.
So you see that's what are we, 5 races in? So we're 8 races left in the first segment. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah, 8 races left in the first segment. So you see how tight that is right there. You know, the cutoff for the bonus points is 5th place. So everybody's fighting for every little scrap and crumb they can get right there to remain. You know, they got 8 races left. You got to be in that top 5 for those bonus points in segment 1. So that series continues to heat up. And, you know, it's really going to heat up next week when we go to the paperclip at Martinsville and get down to some short track races, short track tempers. There'll be some bent fenders and hurt feelings before that's all over with. And I'm sure that scoreboard will reflect a change after we get done at Martinsville next Thursday night.
Yeah, that's how Martinsville goes. You know, everybody goes in that corner a little bit differently, and there's bound to be 1 or 2 bumpers make contact and a few cars go around that weren't looking to go around. So we'll see how it shakes up after Martinsville. Still 8 races to go, you know, and there could be a lot of moving and shaking in those points. Like Puckett said, top 5 is a cutoff, and I'm sitting right there in 5th. Not feeling very comfortable at the moment. I'd much rather be up there where Chevy or Pockets or Rick Craddock are sitting. But we'll see. We got a few races left to go. Moving on to Friday night. Friday night we run the INXS15 Mod. We follow the NASCAR Xfinity Series schedule. Also ran at California this week. And Kilojoules brings that number 029 Star Wars. I believe that's a Chevrolet or a Dodge into victory
Chevy,
lane.
I believe. Yep, Chevrolet.
Yeah, congratulations to Kilojoules on that win. That was I think he had to come from the back of the field at least once, maybe twice. I believe he got a black flag at one point in that race and had to make his way back up through the field and still brought home the win.
Yeah, KJ's another one of those drivers who's been right on the verge of, I mean, he's a threat every week. He's been a victim of circumstances in several races, but he finally pulls in there to victory lane, gets that win there at California. You know, a track that kind of suits his style, super fast guy. Followed closely by Robert Balcom, White Chocolate as we like to call him. Robert making a rare appearance on the Thursday night series out to brought his rig out to California and put a car out there and got a respectable 2nd place. 3rd place, the Cyborg, Rick Johnson. 4th place, there he is again, Danny Hardy. 5th place, HB Hardy. There they are, 3 drivers from PPR2 stables in the top 5 right there. Kilojoules, he's a PPR2 driver. And Danny and HB, they're in 4th and 5th. So they're having quite a bit of success here early on in the season.
Balcom. There you go.
Friday night.
Let's take a look at the points here. Friday night in that series. Looks like HB Hardy sitting in the top spot currently with Terry Scott in 2nd place, down by 3. BSR Texan there in 3rd, down by 3 also. And Kilojoules with that win moves up 3 spots into 4th place, down by 6. And Danny Hardy, there he is again, rounding out the top 5, down by 10 in the Friday night NXS15 series.
Damn, I done fell out of the top 5. I'm going to have to do something about that.
Yeah, you're out of there by 1 point. You've got Nelly trailing 1 point behind you, and look, Chevy Chase back there, 17 points down. So, yeah, there's going to have to be some moving and shaking done there.
Yeah, there's going to be a dogfight in that deal there before that segment's over. 8 more races left in that segment also, so we'll see how it shakes out there. It's like I said, it's gonna be a dogfight. Every point counts.
Won't be doing no moving in this week. Off week Friday night.
That's right, off this week. So the NXS series does not race at Martinsville this Friday, so we'll enjoy a rare off week on Friday night this week. So we'll get back to business the following week.
And Friday night after the BSR series, we run a race, Draft Masters, late night series. This would have been the final race of the season for this series, or this season at Draft Masters, the Super Speedway series. Finished off at Talladega, and HB Hardy brought home the win in that series. Not much of a super speedway racer, but he's been coming along. He's done pretty well in a few of these super speedway races here recently, being able to bring home the victory on Friday night.
Yeah, HB pulls off the win, followed in second place by myself, Big Panda, BSR Pockets. Third place, 144, BSR Magoo. Fourth place, number 19, BSR Furco. And fifth place, the reigning second segment series champion, BSR Chevy Chase, brings it home fifth and secures the championship. I want to say a quick thing about Hardy there. Hardy has not had much success at super speedway racing, and he kind of avoided super speedway racing, but I told him if he would enter a car into the Saturday night team series, that would be the place where he would be able to race with some of the best super speedway racers, pick up some tips and hints, blend in with those guys, learn a few tricks, and boom, there he is. Pulls off the win there at the Friday night Draft Masters Super Speedway Series in the last race. So he's climbing that ladder. And I'll tell you right now, you get a guy like HB Hardy, who hasn't been much of a threat at super speedway racing, get that confidence of that first win, or that he's had a few wins, I think, in super speedways, but they've been rare. But get a guy like that a win in the super speedway series, and he's not going to be anything but a threat after that. It's gonna boost the confidence for him, and he's going to be one to look out for. He ran a good, smart race, had some trouble early on. He capitalized on some other people's misfortunes, and he pulls off the win. So congratulations to him.
Yes, sir. And I see Momo over there in the chat wondering about the panda thing. You wanna fill people in on where this Duck Butter Jones and Big Panda came from?
All right. So we've been playing a lot of this Call of Duty World War II, and so the other night we were in a match, and it throws you in with different people and everything like that. And our buddy Texan says, "Looky there," and he was looking at the list of names on the scoreboard, and he said, "Big Panda and Duck Butter Jones." He says, guy comes in with names like that, we fixing to get beat right there. And sure enough, they beat us, and we just thought that was really funny, and we just been playing off of that here the last few days. So that's where that comes from.
Yeah, and if you play Call of Duty World War II and you happen to end up in the same match with Duck Butter Jones or Big Panda, you better hope those guys are on your team, because otherwise it's not going to be good for you. So.
Yeah, you'll find out what we were talking about. You'll find out what we were talking about. That's those guys that get 45 kills and 3 deaths. So Killa picked them out just by their name alone, and we thought it was funny. So I was goofing around the other night, and I called him Duck Butter Jones, and so that obviously made me Big Panda. So that's where that comes from.
You can imagine you're on the opposite side. You'll be up close and personal with their bullets in your face.
Yeah, well, that was just something that just sort of seemed, I mean, you know, you see a guy come in there named Duck Butter Jones, you know he's about to kick somebody's ass. So, you know.
All right, I got you, Butter.
Hey, there's Momo. Good thing you're here, Momo. We know we just wrapped up this Friday night series. Pockets was talking about Chevy finishing off that championship there. You can see the standings after the end of that series. Poor Boy in second there, down by 26. Pockets in third, down by 39. Hot Rod fourth, down by 57. And then Rick Johnson in fifth place, down by 130. Looks like he missed at least one race there. But speaking of Momo, we're going to move on to Saturday night, where we run the BSR Team Series Battle of the 5 Flavors plus Wolf Bites.
Yeah.
Soon to become Battle of the 6 Flavors. Before we get into that, I forgot to put up the graphic. I was going to put up the new logo and show everybody what the new flavor, what the bag is going to look like. Drunken Cow Jerky is introducing a new flavor, Carolina Reaper. It's going to be even hotter than the Ghost. And once again, BSR Scar has designed the label for that. And that bag looks awesome. And there's going to be a new car added to the Drunken Cow Jerky racing family. Also going to be driven by BSR Brain Fade. Longtime BSR member, very dedicated driver, shows up to every single race.
Good job, Brain.
Yeah, that car is going to be sweet looking. That's a great looking bag, and the car is going to look awesome as soon as we get a pic of it.
Everybody's going to hate
probably
you.
next week if we can. Anything you'd like to add to that, Pockets?
Yeah, that flavor is available now. Just visit drunkencowjerky.com and click around on their website there. You'll see the Carolina Reaper is now available for purchase, and try it out. It's Mark and Richard Heyman and all the fine folks down in Dallas, Texas. They've got a certain little group of people, and they like it hot, and they're always on Mark about, we want it hot, we want it hotter. And so he decided to come up with this Carolina Reaper pepper. He has the Ghost pepper that it's pretty hot. I mean, now it's not just gonna burn you down, but I mean it's definitely give you a little kick. And so he come up with this other flavor, and there's a lot of positive reviews, as there always is for the Drunken Cow Jerky. And so they added the flavor, and we were kind of waiting for the word from Mark to be able to add it to our cars. And Mark messaged me this week and said, "Hey, you're good to go on that. It's official. We're selling it. It's on the website. It's available." So yeah, congratulations to Brain Fade. He's one of the longest standing members, and he shows up every week. And so he was an obvious choice to be the driver of that car. So reviews, as there always is for the Drunken Cow Jerky.
Well, on this week's Saturday Team Race Series, the points were moved and shaken around a little bit. BSR Momo, the number 54 Hot Chevrolet, brings home the victory for the Hot Team again this week. That's 2 wins for our Hot Team in this series, Momo. That win, I believe, took us back up to the lead of this series. And you ran a great race, led the most laps in that race, also managed to bring off the victory. So you absolutely maximized the points for Team Hot this week, man. Great job.
Yes, sir. I do what I do. All I can do is run it strong, run it hard, run it up front, and hope for the best.
Hey, we got slow-mo.
Hey, how you mama now?
Hey, you managed to keep it up there at the front, because I know I had some trouble in a pit stop about mid-race.
Pit stops hurt you.
Yeah, and you managed to make every one of them stick and keep it in that lead pack all the way to the end. And you brought home the victory without either of your teammates up there to be able to push you. So great job.
Yep. Shout out to Chris V.
I'm laughing so hard I gotta pee.
Yeah,
Shout
Chris
out,
V, he's
shout
always
out to
up there.
Chris V though.
Yeah,
Chris
he's
V,
always up
hey,
there. He made it exciting.
Chris V was right there. He ducked and dived. He gave me a good bump.
Let's take a look at how those points moved around on Saturday night after this race.
We slid right back where we need to be.
Yeah, we slid right back up to the top. With that win, we gained 2 positions, moved up to first place. Beer Bacon has been steadily holding on to that second place spot there, only down by 5 points.
I like where Original's at.
Yeah, if you notice Original down there in 5th place, Original was in the lead going into this race. Last week, the Original was in the lead, and with this season, they ended up...
Oh, look at that. That's nasty.
Pockets, I believe you were the first finisher for Original, and you had a 10th place finish in that race?
13th place finish because the 38 car for Original lost the motor with about 15 laps to go. So I was not a contender due to a malfunction with my motor. But what is that? Second race in?
Third
race.
7 races to go. That's the 3rd race in, and that shows you right there how much the points, you know, how much you can really move in just one race, with Original moving from the lead to 5th place, 13 points back. I mean, in just one race, they could be right back up there fighting for the lead again.
Yes, and we plan on, with 7 races to go, we are not done. We had misfortune this week, but we will be back next Saturday night. Team Original has banded together, and we're coming back. We're going to change that little scoreboard for you, so we'll see what it looks like next Sunday night on the spotter stand.
I guarantee you cut it in half.
We're going to try, that's for sure. You know, that team series, you never give up, because every week it's going to change. And like you see, we went from the penthouse to the outhouse, but we will be back.
But y'all have thrown out trophies and shirts and prizes.
Oh yeah.
Watch what happens.
Yep, this is the first season.
Yeah.
That we're fortunate enough to have Brian Voyles, Kathy Voyles, everyone over Voyles Trucking.
We love Voyles Trucking.
Yeah, they're gonna get with.
We're gonna put Original in our house.
I tell you what, that Beer Bacon team, that's going to be one to watch out for, because they've been strong in all 3 of these races. Brian Voyles on that team from Voyles Trucking.
Oh, I know. I'm worried.
He has been a strong super speedway racer for the last, he's really come on here in the last 6, 8, 10 weeks, and he's been consistent. He's been running up at the front, staying up at the front, and he's got DJ Champ as one of his teammates. He's going to be on the pole every race. So, and Brian also qualifies pretty.
We ain't worried about teriyaki, Roger.
Roger Bevins out in the chat box.
We ain't worried about no damn teriyaki.
Yeah, Roger Bevins saying teriyaki ain't done neither.
That's right. They'd be right. And they'd be right there if it wouldn't have been for the fact that they both made a bad decision with the last restart.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why we ain't worried about it was fuck Nelly.
That's true.
Well, Saturday night, that finishes off the team series. But after the team series on Saturday night, just like on Friday night, we move over and run a late night race.
Hey, I'm getting out of here. Have fun, fellas. I love y'all.
Momo.
Have a good night.
Good to see you, Momo. Thank you, bud.
Hey, say go Clemson Tigers.
Holla.
We're playing Auburn. Holla.
We need to have Momo in here every week.
Yep. All right, back to the.
Hey, he won't let me come in here every week. Holla.
We'll see you, Momo. Thanks for coming. Good win, man.
From your channel.
Well, Saturday night after the team series, we run another late night series at the Draft Masters. This one a Speedway series. Las Vegas this week. And this was the next to last race. I believe there's one race left in this series. We'll be going to Pocono to finish up the season. And yours truly, BSR Texan, brings home the win at Las Vegas. That was actually a little bit of a different race. That's a fixed setup race, and the setup for that track it seemed to be bottoming out a lot, for me and for some of the other guys, and it took a little bit of getting used to, but once you got used to that setup and the way it felt on the track, it wasn't out of control, and it turned out to be a really good race. I believe we only had one caution all race long. Is that right?
One caution.
Yep, one caution.
Somehow I managed to lead most of that race. I believe I gave up the lead once to Robert Balcom and another time to Rick Johnson. They were both right there putting the pressure on me that whole race. Somehow I managed to keep it up there in the front most of the race and bring home the win. It was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to next week because the points are still fairly tight going into the last race.
Yeah, they're going to start feeling the same way we did whenever they see Duck Butter Jones come into the racing lobby there after Texan pulls off that win. Second place, Robert Balcom, White Chocolate, brings it home second place. Rick Johnson, third place. My man Steve Looney, 21 car, brings it in fourth place. Another great guy, Monty Keller, man. Look at that. Just look at the class of the field we got in that series right there on Saturday night, sponsored by Voyles Trucking. Brian and Kathy Voyles doing a great job sponsoring a great series, great speedway series. Like I said, one caution. What do we have? 94 laps, one caution. And that caution was just an unfortunate miscommunication between a couple of drivers. But man, what a great race. Those races have been on fire on Saturday night. I mean, they really have. You start getting people like Robert and Steve Looney and our man Reaper down there, Jason Wolf, and HB Hardy, stuff like that. That'll show you what kind of groups coming in there and racing. So if that's an indication that that's a great series. Great people make great racing and great series, and we appreciate all those guys coming out.
And let's take a look at the points in that series with just one race remaining. Robert Balcom currently in the lead with Rick Johnson, only 8 points back in second place. And there I am, BSR Texan, third place down by 9. Steve Looney in fourth, down by 17. And BSR Hot Rod rounding out the top 5, down by 28. And we've been getting some good turnouts in this series with, with a good sized field.
Even fifth place ain't out of it.
That's right. So Robert is going to be tough to beat. He's a good, strong, consistent racer. He's going to, he's fast everywhere. If he's not going to win, if he doesn't get the win, usually he's at least in the top 5. So, even second, third place, it's not going to be easy. We're going to have to, do everything we can to get the win. And, Robert's going to have maybe at least a little bit of trouble finish back beyond 5th place for anybody to have a chance, but it's possible.
Yeah, we roll into Pocono, so that's going to be exciting. A track like Pocono with Robert, Rick Johnson, Doug Butter Jones, Steve Looney, Hot Rod, Poor Boy. That's gonna be exciting. Those top 3 positions right there, man. That could all change, and you look at a driver like Robert. He's a great driver, great guy, consistent, clean, loves white chocolate M&Ms. He's gonna be hard to beat. So that'll be. I'm just glad to be there to watch what's gonna happen. I'm probably not gonna be able to see very well from my position on the track at Pocono, but I'll at least be able to hear what's going on. So that'll be pretty exciting next Saturday night at the Draft Masters Speedway Series, sponsored by Voyles Trucking. Again, thanks to Brian and Kathy Voyles for all they do for sim racing and all of these series and stuff like that. It's been a really good time there on Saturday night, late night, after the Saturday night team series Battle of the 5 Flavors and Wolf Bite, sponsored by Drunken Cow Jerky.
It's been a great week of racing, and I'm looking forward to next week. Moving on to Martinsville. going to be another interesting week. It's going to be some fun racing there. Before we cut out of here, let's take a look at the bonus points. We'll finish each week with these. They won't change a whole lot, but they'll change a little bit as we go along. In the NXS15, you can see there, Kilojoules took the win Friday night and got added to the win column there on the left, and the total bonus points there in the center. He's been added to that list. We didn't have a truck race this week, so there's been no change there on the right hand side of this one. And over to the Cup Series, we had Danny Hardy that took the win on Thursday night, got added to the winner race list over there, and he already had one bonus point. I believe he was a top 5 finisher in one of the duels. Yeah, duel number 2, top 5 finisher. So he moves up to 2 points total. BSR Momo still leading that board over there with 3 points toward his chase bonus points. Quite a few guys now with 2 and quite a few with 1. And before we leave here, we've got a few other picks we wanted to share with you, with all of you this week. Some of the prizes and things that have gone out here recently. First up, I've got the picture of that number 5 Kellogg's car we were talking about earlier. This was donated by Roger Bevins, and it was awarded to Nelly during the Monday Night Nitro series. That's number 5 Kellogg's Terry Labonte die cast. It's a great looking car. You can see it's in its own display case there. Looks like it's, you know, really good looking ride. I've got another view of it here from the front. You can see the hood, see the Terry Labonte down there on the base. That's pretty cool. He should be receiving that pretty soon if he hasn't already.
Yeah, that's a nice little piece right there, man. Hats off to Roger Bevins for throwing that in the mix right there. Just another example of the fine people and the fine racers that are willing to give their time and their effort and throw in some prizes and stuff. And that was a great gesture on behalf of Roger, and we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I've got a little collection of a few die-cast cars that would be a pretty cool one to add to it. I know just about anybody would be glad to have that. And also here recently, a few of our native BSR drivers got together, had a little lunch, and some prizes were awarded. We've got some pictures here. BSR Pockets with his plaques awarded by Brian Voyles Trucking. One for the BSR AK Racer Memorial Series victory, and the other for the Lin Voyles Memorial Race victory. BSR Pockets and Brian Voyles and BSR Scar all got together somewhere in Arkansas, location unknown. Had a little lunch. They got together, had a little meet and greet, and Brian awarded those plaques to Pockets in person. How was that, Pockets?
Look at the big panda holding up the hardware there. How about that?
Got a couple others here for you.
That was a great time. Yeah, it was a great time. That right there, that's the Natural State Sim Racing Syndicate right there. Brian Voyles, WLS Graphics, Tim Scarborough, and myself, Big Panda. You know, that I had made a post and you know, I was telling those guys, you know, I've been doing this for a long time. This is my hobby. This is what I do. I've won races. I've won some championships. I'm your everyday average sim racing driver, but I tell you what, these 2 awards right here mean more to me than anything I've ever accomplished in sim racing, because, you know, the Lin Voyles Memorial, that was for Brian's dad, who was a long time sim racer, one of the best super speedway racers to ever hold a steering wheel. I'm telling you right now, that man was legitimate, and everybody knows it too. When you seen him pull onto the track, you got comfortable real quick at finishing second place and thinking it was a good night. And then the AK BSR AK Racer Memorial, that one was one that I tell you, I went into that series. You know, we came up with that as a way to memorialize and remember our good buddy AK. And that was a series that was really close to my heart. And I've never raced 20 races harder than I raced those 20 races. Every Thursday and Friday night in the off season there in the winter series, I came in there prepared and was ready to go. And I was fortunate. I was lucky. I was even good a few times, and I was glad to be able to pull that off. And this is just an example of some of the things that Brian and Kathy Voyles and Drunken Cow Jerky and all the rest of our sponsors come together and support us in the things that we want to do, like memorializing one of our drivers and putting on good series and good races. And I'm proud to be the recipient of these great awards from Brian and Kathy Voyles at Voyles Trucking.
And we've got another pick here for you. This is Pockets and Brian Voyles, the man himself. Pockets, look at there with the, of course, he's got to hold that number 1 finger up. Who's number 1, Pockets?
That's right. Big Panda, baby.
Got another one here for you. Also along there was BSR Scar. Doesn't live too far from where Pockets. He was able to drive and meet with the guys, and those two also in the undisclosed location somewhere in Arkansas.
Oh, it's not undisclosed. That is at the White Pig Inn.
How's
where
the food
that is.
there?
That's a great place. That place has a little barbecue joint, and it's been in business since 1920. And Scar and I met for lunch over there not too long ago, and it was so good. Brian called me up and said, "Hey, we need to get together." So I called up Scar and told him that's where, you know, that's a good place for us to meet, and centrally located. And we went in there and had a good time. The waitresses thought it was a really cool deal that we was having our award ceremony, our awards luncheon there at the White Pig Inn. And I'll tell you about Scar. That's how, you know, he and I live in the same area, but I used to work in a place, an electrical distribution place, and he worked for an electrical contractor. And many years ago, he walked into that building, and I always wore a Dale Earnhardt cap with a 3 on it. He walked in with a Dale Earnhardt Jr. cap on. He looked at me, he said, "Hey, you like racing?" I said, oh yeah, man. Yeah, I'm way off into it. And I told him, I said, as a matter of fact, I even do some sim racing. And he's like, "What are you talking about, sim racing?" And the rest is history from that point on. That's where Tim Scarborough, that's where he came from. He came from, I met him just, you know, out in the real world, both doing our own jobs. We just came together. We had a mutual admiration for the sport, and that's how he got started. And I'm glad that he was able to join us there. WLS Graphics does all the graphics work for Drunken Cow Jerky, does the lion's share of graphics work for Bomb Squad Racing, Draft Masters, the whole 9 yards. He's a very invaluable part of what we do here, and I was just glad to be able to have him with us there at the awards luncheon.
And we've got a couple more images here for you. A close-up. It's a close-up here of the AK Memorial Series plaque. Now that Pocket said he was lucky and maybe good 1 or 2 times. Well, that's a 20 race series, and half of it, 10 of the races were in the truck physics, and the other 10 were in the cup physics. Same track each week, 1 race in the truck, 1 race in the cup. And to be able to put 20 races together, all the points are added up from both cup and truck, and still be in the lead after 20. You got to be good more than once or twice. So, congratulations, man. That was absolutely a great job to bring home that win. And I'd like to point out that this plaque, the picture you see up there at the top, that is BSR AK Racer when he was working for a driver there in the NASCAR series. And, you know, to have that picture of BSR AK Racer on that plaque for his Memorial Series, you know, that makes that really mean a lot. I think that's a great prize.
Oh, let me tell you something. I walked in the house, and this is a true story. Showed that to my wife, and I said, I want you to know, anything ever happens to me, I want you to know how special I think this is. I said, that's my buddy. She said, who is that? And I said, that's AK. AK was the tire specialist for Bobby Hamilton Racing. And I said, that's him in a real race right there. And I said, this is the award I won for winning that series in his honor. And I said, I want you to know right now how special I think this is. That right there is one of my most prized possessions, and it will hang predominantly on my wall right back here by where I race. So every time I sit down or come into this room to have anything to do with sim racing, I'll have AK right there looking at me, and I'll be proud and look at that award for the rest of my days, and proud to have won it, I promise you.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And the other one here, the Lin Voyles Memorial Race plaque, also, you know, not so easy to come by. This is not a series where you can put together some good races. This is a one-shot deal. You got to win this one race. And, you know, super speedways, big turnout, a lot of drivers there to be able to put that together and bring home that victory. Another great performance, another outstanding job, well deserving of this award, which will also, you know, mean a little bit more, being the Lin Voyles Memorial Race for our good friend BSR Brian Voyles at Voyles Trucking.
Yeah, that was the inaugural event right there, the first race of what we hope to be many. We're going to have that every year like that, and I was again just very fortunate enough to be able to have my name in the history books as the first winner of that. That's a very, very special, another very special thing that I hold in high regard, because that honors my good friend Brian's father. And I want to, you know, I posted in Facebook that I wanted to dedicate both of them to I wanted to dedicate that one to Lin and the other one to AK Art Rogers, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I had them in my heart when I was out there racing, and I think that's what helped me get to victory lane, and I'll never forget it, and I'll always remember it.
Well, we'd like to take a second here to thank all of our sponsors: Drunken Cow Jerky, Voyles Trucking, Real Tech LLC, Rick Craddock, WLS Graphics, BSR Scar, The Medicine Chest Pharmacy, BSR J Rusty, and Hello Sunshine Hello, BSR Tyler, and his wife,
Rhoda.
Holla. We really appreciate all of them and everything that they do for us here at BSR. It makes everything, all these prizes that we award and all this great racing possible. And we'd like to say thanks to every one of them.
Yeah, a special shout out to Drunken Cow Jerky. All you people that are watching this are going to watch this. You want the best craft-made whiskey and beer-soaked beef jerky on the planet? Type in drunkencowjerky.com. Go in there, look around, place an order. Mark, I tell you right now, I have never seen anyone that is so on top of their business as he is. You place those orders, and I promise you, he's tracking it. He knows where it is at all times. Whether he's at home or driving down the interstate, he keeps an eye on his business. And I tell you what, I was thinking the other day, where else can you find a place where you can get some great beef jerky treats for yourself and your four-legged family member? Try the Wolf Bites. If you have a dog, get those Wolf Bites. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you ever give your dog any of them, you better be prepared to keep that website address. You might as well save it to your favorites, because you're going to need it. I promise you. Not counting when you try some Drunken Cow Jerky, you're definitely going to want to add it to your favorites, because you will be back. I've told people over and over, I've never seen anybody order it just one time. So That says everything that needs to be said right there. Thanks to Mark and Richard and all the fine folks down in Dallas, Texas.
That's right. Don't forget about that Carolina Reaper flavor. Brand new flavor just added. If you like some spicy food and you like beef jerky, try that Reaper. It's great stuff.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate you being here, Big Panda. BSR Hot Rod, the Stuck Butter Jones. We're going to roll out of here, and we will see you guys next week.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody. Holla.
Holla.